So, good afternoon, everyone. What I was talking about in my Facebook post is that last night at about 11:55 p.m., officers from Area B3 responded to 5 Ames Street for a report at that time of 7 to 8 people shot. On arrival, they located 5 victims in an outdoor crime scene. They were taken to a local area hospital where, unfortunately, one adult male succumbed to his injuries. At the same time, in Mass Ave, in the vicinity of New Market, you had another male shot and another male stabbed that self-applied to the hospital. You've heard me say many times before that violent offenders should not be released back to the neighborhoods, and here's why. You're taking people from a controlled environment that have not been fully rehabilitated. That's what you pay taxes for, full rehabilitation. Not one judge has ever provided a certificate that said that any COVID-19 releases are fully rehabilitated. And as well, to those releasees, it's unfair. You're taking someone from a controlled environment where they have 3 meals, a bed, and physical and mental health care, and many of them are going back to neighborhoods that test the highest for COVID-19 positives. They are coming back without a reentry program. No meals, no housing, no money, no mental or physical health care. You tell me, where does that make sense in anybody's book? So, as well, I'll close on that answer and this in a minute. The mentality on the street is that you can do whatever you want. You heard me cite before that Mr. Utley, who had an electronic bracelet on for an OUI and firearm offense, committed a murder, allegedly, whilst on electronic bracelet. And he's let out because he could get sick. We need to be talking about the individuals that are released to the community that are impacting our neighborhoods and impacting violence, because the mentality out on the street, this is from a 35-year street cop, is that you can do whatever you want because there are no repercussions from the court. And just to be fair, I used to go to MCI Concord 3 years in a row, restorative justice. For people that cannot function properly without hurting people, they have to be rehabilitated on the other side. With that being said, programs and initiatives must be fully funded so that they can be fully rehabilitated before they return as citizens, and hopefully citizens that will be able to function without committing acts of violence. So that's why I'm upset.
Is there any specific...
Yeah. Your job as a judge is to be fair and impartial and make the best decisions for the neighborhood. So, it's quite obvious that repeat violent offenders are murderer, gangbangers. There was even one guy released that sex crimes and child pornography. How does that make sense? Here's something. If you feel so comfortable, release him. Let him stay in your house with your family. Now let's see if things would change. Come on. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Look at the numbers. 5 homicides in a row. The attempted murder of 4 police officers in broad daylight. A 10-year-old girl getting shot in her apartment. A 17-year-old girl getting murdered on the street. The mentality on the street is we can do whatever we want because there's no repercussions. The courts are closed. We can do what we want. So how about this? Use your common sense and be fair to the people in the community. The people getting out are not fully rehabilitated, and you do not have a reentry program. It's not fair to them or the community. Sir? Well, with the NAACP, and you've always heard me say, folks, I give credit where credit's due. There was one time you heard this moniker of stop snitching. That's no more. That may be gangs against gangs. The people of Boston and the neighborhoods are helping the Boston Police Department. President Sullivan from the NAACP has pledged to work with the Boston Police Department, the mayor, the cabinets, to inform people about how we can help them, how we can help rehabilitate people behind bars and as they return as well. So we can tell you more about that program at a later date. I don't want to say anything that's misinformative. So.
Is there any specific shooting that happened recently where you can definitively say the shooter had been released from prison or jail because of COVID-related incidents?
We can't comment on that because it's an active homicide investigation. But still, common sense, folks. What do you think people that are committed to acts of violence and carrying guns are thinking when you see a murderer released? Or how about this? The month of May, we had over 45 firearms removed from the streets and or taken in search warrants. 24 individuals had firearms on their person. Out of the 24, 16 were verified gang members. You tell me, use your common sense. Why would these individuals, several of them, be bailed back into our community? It doesn't make sense. We have to hold people accountable. Accountability is key. You do not get a pass if you're a judge. And again, talk to the people in Boston that are suffering. You should have saw the people last night. You saw the people at Bromley Heath. Mass Ave, 4 officers that almost killed by a gunman that was released in January. I think that the citizens of Boston deserve better than that, and even the releasees as well. You should have a plan in place so that they're not set up for failure.
Any additional details you could share about the violence last night? We had heard about the shooting in Dorchester. We heard that there might have been a birthday party involved. Can you speak to any of that?
All I know is that there was some type of social gathering, and an altercation may or may not have taken place, but if it did or didn't, either way, a gunman opened fire on individuals, resulting in 5 people being shot.
Commissioner, can you share your thoughts on recent events in Minneapolis?
Absolutely. So I'm a member of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, as well a board member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, as well a member of Major City Chiefs. We all condemn the actions of the 4 officers. Their actions led to the death of Mr. George Floyd. There is nowhere in any of our training manuals where kneeling on someone's neck is a proper procedure to quell an arrestee's behavior. That act has set policing back years. In Boston, we're lucky that we have such a great relationship with the community. Our community policing model is one of the tops in the country, but a lot of people think the actions of a few are indicative of the actions of all police officers. That is not the case. So we condemn those acts of violence, and we stick and we stand with the Chief Arredondo of Minneapolis. As well, we have a Massachusetts chapter of Noble, and we fully condemn the actions of those officers. And God bless Mr. Floyd and his family and friends. That's not how we police. But I can say this in closing. These are incidents where we must use them as teachable moments and learning moments so that we'll never repeat that. In 21st century policing, you have to keep in mind de-escalation, right, procedural justice, and fair and impartial policing. I don't think any of that was shown in Minneapolis, and for those 4 officers, they should be held accountable. Thank you.